know I don't get knocked out.
You get knocked out.
I finish you.
Even before the fight.
I finish you, little man.
Get that fuck your ass from here.
I finish you.
Ilia Topuria shoves Paddy Pimblett in a wild post-fight clash that Dana White calls a disgrace to the UFC.
Ilia, after the fight, he called in Paddy Pimblett and brought him into the cage, and they had a face-off. Obviously, they've got a long history together. I know there's a lot of options on the table for Ilia, but when he shows that type of interest in a fight, does that make you want to make it?
Well, I don't know who the hell let him in there. That should have never happened. Let's start there. I was already back in my room, or that would have never happened, but...
The UFC 317 main event ended in fireworks, and not just from the knockout, as Ilia Topuria celebrated his jaw-dropping victory over Charles Oliveira to become the new lightweight champion. What was supposed to be a crowning moment turned chaotic when Paddy Pimblett entered the octagon. A scuffle broke out between the two outspoken lightweights, stealing the spotlight and triggering reactions from fans, fighters, and UFC executives alike. The post-fight tension quickly boiled over into a shoving match that had to be broken up by security, setting the MMA world ablaze with speculation.
If he thinks that he's ready, come on, you blonde. Bring that here. If he wants, bring that here. Bring him here.
Well done.
Look at me. Look at me.
That was a heavy knockout. I give you that respect, but you will never knock me out.
Pimblett initially approached Topuria with what appeared to be praise for his stunning first-round knockout, but the air quickly thickened with animosity as verbal jabs escalated into a physical confrontation. The moment, although brief, was intense. As the two men stood nose to nose, Topuria shoved Pimblett, prompting a flurry of movement as security rushed in to prevent things from spiraling further. The crowd inside Las Vegas's T-Mobile Arena erupted, not just from the violence inside the cage, but from the possibility of what might come next.
Well done, lad.
Look at me. Look at me.
That was a heavy knockout. I give you that respect, but you will never knock me out.
I'm going to submit you. You little pussy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my balls in your
No, you
forehead.
can't knock me out.
Pussy.
You know I don't get knocked out.
You get knocked out.
I finish you.
Even before the fight.
I finish you, little
Get
man.
that fuck your ass from here.
I finish
Get
you.
UFC President Dana White was visibly upset during the post-fight press conference. He made it clear that allowing Pimblett into the octagon after the main event was a mistake, especially with Topuria's wife and child present. White emphasized that the UFC does not normally allow unscheduled face-offs, particularly when the champion is having a personal and historic moment. He even blamed Joe Rogan for the situation, suggesting the veteran commentator's call to bring Pimblett inside the cage was inappropriate and unapproved. According to White, if he had still been out in the arena and not already backstage, the face-off would never have happened.
Ilia, after the fight, he called in Paddy Pimblett and brought him into the cage, and they had a face-off. Obviously, they've got a long history together. I know there's a lot of options on the table for Ilia, but when he shows that type of interest in a fight, does that make you want to make it?
Well, I don't know who the hell let him in there. That should have never happened. Let's start there. I was already back in my room, or that would have never happened, but... I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really think about that stuff tonight, other than, obviously the Van fight. But, we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. Dude, my thing with with Topuria is his wife and kid are in the octagon. That's not the fight that it's just, yeah.
It was fun to watch.
It shouldn't happen.
It was fun to watch.
Wow, that's not really what we do. Give a shit if it was fun to watch or not. It's just that shouldn't happen. Plus, he wins a second title in a higher division. It was a bad call by whoever the hell let him in there.
Topuria's victory itself was nothing short of historic, having previously dominated the featherweight division, including back-to-back finishes of legends like Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway. The Georgian-Spanish fighter decided to move up to lightweight. His transition raised eyebrows among fans and fighters alike, with many questioning whether his power and precision would hold up against bigger, stronger opponents. Those doubts were erased in emphatic fashion.
Tonight, but Paddy Pimblett did come in the cage tonight. Y'all had a little fun. But there's Arman Tsarukyan, there's Justin Gaethje. Is that the fight that you want more than anything else?
Yes, that's the fight that I want. Because with Charles, I had a little bit difficult situation because I really like the guy. He's a really great human being. You can hate him. You always see him surrounded by his family, friends, teammates. He's an amazing human being. But at the end, I was like, this is competition. I have to do my job, and that's it. But with Paddy, I'm really gonna enjoy kicking his ass.
In his first lightweight bout, Topuria faced former champion Charles Oliveira, a man known for his devastating submission game and finishing instincts. But Topuria didn't just beat Oliveira, he demolished him. From the opening bell, both men came out swinging, but it was Topuria who maintained composure. When Oliveira went for a takedown within the first minute, Topuria quickly reversed the position, momentarily dominating from side control before letting the Brazilian back to his feet. That decision turned out to be the beginning of the end. Standing toe-to-toe once again, Topuria landed a perfect right hand, followed by a thunderous left hook that sent Oliveira crashing to the mat. A couple of hammer fists later, and referee Mark Goddard had seen enough. The fight was waved off just 2 minutes and 27 seconds into the first round.
When you were envisioning this fight against Charles Oliveira, you called your shot, first round knockout. Are you seeing that actual shot? Are you
saw it exactly like this? Exactly like this. I knew it. I knew it. Like in the moment when I'm gonna start to combinate punches, he's not gonna see me coming. And I call this. I actually told you during the whole week. I told you he's not gonna see me coming. The way I move, the way I do it, they can't do anything against it.
Can you talk about just? It seemed like you were very comfortable the whole time, but that's Charles Oliveira there. I mean, that's the guy who's got the most submission wins in UFC history. He's got your leg. He wraps you up a little bit. It's early in the fight, first round. Any type of adversity go through your mind?
I also said that. I said that, like, once I want to start to connecting punches, he's going to try to take me down. This is something he's going to try. He's going to try to walk forward. But one thing is what you are going to try, and the other thing is what you are going to do, what you are going to be able to do. So exactly what I said. I connected with a couple of punches. He was like shocked. And he said, I need to get a takedown. Then I defended the takedown. I control him in the ground. Almost, I get a very dominating position in the ground. I was very, very close to get it. He did a great scramble in the ground. Again, we went to the striking, and finally, I could knock him out.
Topuria's performance sent shockwaves through the lightweight division. Not only did he win the vacant belt in dominant fashion, but he also became just the 10th fighter in UFC history to win titles in 2 different weight classes. Even more impressively, he achieved this milestone while remaining undefeated, something no other dual weight champion has done before. With 17 wins and 10 first-round finishes now to his name, Topuria is quickly making a case for being considered among the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world.
Briscoe, that we are honestly watching the greatest 3-fight run in the history of the UFC.
3 straight knockouts, and it's not just the knockouts, as I told Briscoe earlier, it's the people that he took down.
Yes.
And 2 of them former champions.
He beat one of the greatest, he beat the 2 greatest featherweights of all time.
Yes.
In Volkanovski and Holloway.
Yep.
And then he just knocked out a guy in Charles Oliveira who holds the record for submissions in UFC history and finishes. He's one of the greatest we've ever seen, and he got him out of there in the very first round. We have not seen this before.
How does he match up against Paddy?
Paddy is big. Obviously, you saw it in the octagon.
Yes.
There's a massive difference in size. Paddy showed against Michael Chandler that he is much better than people give him credit for. Where I would worry for Paddy Pimblett is he's not the best striker. He can strike, but he isn't as clean as Charles Oliveira, and Charles is bigger. He has to get the fight to the ground, but Ilya's a grappler. I mean, honestly, watching him and Paddy Pimblett's a good fight. Him and Arman Tsarukyan's a good fight. I think he has a lot of challenges, but it's going to be hard to take the belt from this guy.
The next picture.
Now that's 3 back-to-back-to-back knockouts against 3 legends in the sport. Are you sure you don't want to just face Justin Gaethje to keep the momentum going and get another knockout to a legend?
If the UFC wants me to, of course. Why not? I will be ready.
Now, we saw Paddy Pimblett come in there. If you were to fight Paddy Pimblett, do you think that might be at a different weight division? Because he looked like a heavyweight in there. What was going through your mind when Paddy Pimblett stepped in the octagon?
Looks like a heavyweight. He's that little pimple. He's fat. He's not someone that looks big because he has that muscle. It's because he's very undisciplined. ¿Cómo es undisciplined? Fat.
What was going through your mind in the octagon when he walked in? Did you think it might get physical?
I saw fear in his eyes, and you know, the eyes never lie.
UFC CEO Dana White called Topuria's win a big night and openly declared that the promotion now had a new star on its hands. But as much as White admired the performance, he clearly disapproved of how the post-fight celebration was hijacked by the altercation with Pimblett. While fans may have enjoyed the drama, White emphasized that it's not how the organization operates. He also made it clear that despite the buzz, Topuria versus Pimblett is not the fight the UFC is planning next.
Do you think that he gives Islam a run for the money he is pound for pound right now?
Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, he did exactly what he said he's going to do. He is an absolute complete fighter. You know, stand up is beautiful, ground, grappling, everything. Yeah, this kid's a star.
From a punching power standpoint, you know, he knocks out Volkanovski, Holloway, and Oliveira, you know, 3 amazing fighters in a row. Is he the hardest hitter pound for pound that the UFC has ever had?
He's on a great 3-fight win streak for sure. You know, all legends that he knocked out. I don't know. I don't know where he sits pound for pound punching power, but, you know, moving up a weight class like that and doing what you say you're going to do in the first round and the way he did it is very impressive.
Asked about Paddy, you said he needs to win one more fight, and now tonight you're saying
I was very excited tonight.
So does he need to win one more fight, or is that who you want? You're going to tell the UFC you want next?
I don't know. Someone from my team told me that Dana was a little bit angry about that. Yeah. Yeah. That he said that.
He said that if he was there, he would not have let that happen.
Yeah, but he wasn't there. So, mate, that has to happen.
The real frustration, however, came from Arman Tsarukyan. The Armenian-Russian lightweight contender had been positioned as the likely next opponent for whoever won the UFC 317 main event. Tsarukyan, who was in the building and served as the backup fighter, was left completely out of the spotlight when attention shifted to the Topuria-Pimblett showdown. He later took to social media to voice his irritation, stating that it was never supposed to be Oliveira in the cage with Topuria in the first place, and insisting he would finish Topuria if given the chance. In his eyes, the champion was avoiding the real threat. Tsarukyan believed that Topuria deliberately chose to engage with Pimblett to avoid discussing a fight with him, knowing the stylistic danger Tsarukyan brings to the table. From a competitive standpoint, Tsarukyan has a strong case. He's currently ranked at the top of the lightweight division and has been consistently facing and defeating elite opponents. Fans who value meritocracy echoed Tsarukyan's frustrations, suggesting that UFC matchmaking should focus on rankings and actual fight credentials, not entertainment value alone.
Arman Tsarukyan reacts to Ilia Topuria knocking out Charles Oliveira. It was never supposed to be Charles. I can finish Ilia, simple as that, and he knows it too. That's why he's avoiding the real #1 contender. This is what other fighters had to say. Totally underestimate stand-up from Charles and Strong. Beautiful combination from Ilia. Beautiful fights tonight. News are coming. Let's go for that. Yo, poor Arman, man. Petty doesn't get past him. I do want to see Ilia put him.
To further highlight the UFC's selective approach to post-fight face-offs, White pointed out how the octagon encounter between flyweight champion Alexandre Pantoja and Joshua Van was justified. Van had just earned a hard-fought victory over Brandon Royval and was already declared the next title contender. That face-off, White explained, was organic, competitive, and deserved. In contrast, the Topuria-Pimblett confrontation was unplanned and driven more by spectacle than substance.
I mean, that's what I love about this sport, and that's what I love about giving guys opportunities.
Yeah. Can you give us the story on why you were willing to allow him in the cage? We don't matchmake on Saturday night, right? But it's clear that's the fight. Why did you say, hey, yeah, let's go ahead and do a face-off?
Well, he's the #1 contender, and I just said that, you know, the winner of that fight would get a title shot. So, and obviously the fans, wanted to. My thing with with Topuria is his wife and kid are in the octagon. That's not the fight that it's just, yeah.
It was fun to watch.
It shouldn't happen.
It was fun to watch.
Well, that's not really what we do. Give a shit if it was fun to watch or not. It's just that shouldn't happen. Plus, he wins a second title in a higher division. It was a bad call by whoever the hell let him in there.
Still, it's impossible to deny the traction the moment created. Even if it wasn't officially sanctioned, the tension between Topuria and Pimblett now feels more real than ever. It sparked massive online conversations and media coverage, with fans already debating how the fight would play out. On paper, it's a classic striker versus wildcard matchup. Topuria brings polished, powerful boxing and surgical precision, while Pimblett fights with chaotic unpredictability and surprising toughness. The build-up would be electric, no matter when or if it actually happens.
Do you think Paddy Pimblett really wants to fight you?
I saw him. The eyes never lie. He doesn't want to fight me. Really? I swear to God, he doesn't want to fight me. I saw the fear in his eyes. The eyes never lie.
Tell us what to look for in that situation, because the rest of us are seeing him get.
When we bring him inside the octagon, he was scared. I'm telling you, he was like, "What the I'm doing here? Why I didn't went to the school, the university? Why I didn't choose something different?"
Do you, when having looked him in the eyes tonight, is he your next opponent? Do you believe that he's next?
Listen, I don't think that we have anyone else in the division. Like, fighting against Justin Gaethje, I don't think that that's going to be something exciting for the fans, because, as I said, like, we need new blood in the division. You know, we need new faces, new guys that come hungrier than the guys that we used to see in the past, like Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira, or the other guys. You know what I mean? So I wanna bring new faces to the game.
Yet as of now, Dana White remains firm. Topuria's focus will likely be redirected toward legitimate title defenses, and Tsarukyan remains the most probable next opponent. Despite the allure of the Topuria-Pimblett clash, the UFC appears to be staying the course with its divisional structure. Meanwhile, Pimblett, who is currently ranked 8th, may need another big win to position himself as a true contender for a title shot.
I think you looked more comfortable and even more dangerous. Can you talk about just how different you felt tonight as opposed to before when you were cutting all that weight to make 145?
Two different words, as I told you. Like, I felt much more comfortable in this weight division than in the featherweight division. In the featherweight division, to make the weight class, I had to almost kill myself. In this weight class, I enjoyed the whole process. I would love to say the same thing about the fight week, but the fight week is always hard. I don't know why. I hate to cut the weight, the last pounds, like when you feel so thirsty. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. I feel much more comfortable in the lightweight division. Of course, I belong to this weight class.
Still, in the ever-evolving world of mixed martial arts, plans can change in an instant. The face-off that wasn't supposed to happen may end up being the moment that fans look back on as the spark that ignited one of the UFC's most marketable rivalries in recent years. Whether or not the promotion decides to capitalize on the chaos remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: Ilia Topuria is no longer just a rising star. He's now a two-division champion, a knockout artist with terrifying precision, and a fighter who can command the spotlight inside and outside the cage.
Especially the fact that everyone thinks I'll lose. You know what I mean? Everyone thinks that I'll lose. 9 out of 10 people probably think he'll knock me out. And I love proving people wrong. It just gives me this warm, fuzzy feeling inside, just making people eat their own words.
And what has that been like for you? Because you have been keenly aware of the doubt against Bobby Green. And on your way up, people saying, Paddy's fun, he's got a fun haircut, and he's got a great accent, and he's this exotic, really fun guy, but he just doesn't have it. And you've proved him wrong, because you've proven that you have it enough to maybe book this fight for a title next.
Well, people always said I'm not top level. I think I won't get ranked at first, and I won't get top 10. Ends up doing both. People have always said I'll never be champion, but
Brendan, would you mind? This is just a fan of me, real fast, Paddy. But if I can get ahead of something, Tsarukyan is going to try to get this fight back. Tsarukyan is going to try to step in and say, I was the alternate. What would you say to Tsarukyan when he comes in and tries to get the fight with Ilia? What would you respond?
Tsarukyan, you can go and weigh in as an alternate again, you little.
With an undefeated record, a claim to 2 belts, and a growing list of contenders lining up for a shot, Topuria's next move will be closely watched. Whether it's Tsarukyan, Pimblett, or someone else entirely, El Matador has officially arrived at the top of the sport. UFC 317 was meant to mark the beginning of a new chapter for the lightweight division, and it did, just with more drama than anyone expected.